quality of this business is something that I know the family's very proud of, but also this local community as well. It's typical of many small businesses around the country, and Maria and I were talking about this earlier, where they're just facing increased costs in their own business. So for Australian families who have seen their gas prices go up by 34% or their electricity bills at home go up by 32%, it's not just at home that that's happening. It's here at a food distribution centre where the electricity bill is projected to go up by double. And if that's going up by another $6,000 a month, there might be some of that cost that can be absorbed by the business, but most of it is going to have to be passed on. And that's the reality of life under this government. The cost of everything is up. The renewables-only energy policy is a wrecking ball through the economy, and it's driving up the cost of food, the cost of everything when you go to the supermarket. And that's why Australians now, and we've heard these stories as we've moved around the country, people are taking items out of their trolleys, out of their baskets at the supermarket, putting it back onto the shelf because they can't afford to pay the bill when they get to the checkout. And as Lawrence points out, Australians can't afford 3 more years of this bad Albanese government. And a big spending Labor Greens government means that you're going to end up with higher inflation, which means higher interest rates and higher costs right across the economy. Now, the Prime Minister last night didn't make any mention of the reality of taxes under this government. When the government introduces its unrealised capital gain tax, Australians should know that that means when the value of your shares go up or the value of your property goes up, you are going to pay tax on the gain before you sell the shares or before you sell the house or before you sell a block of units or before you sell that other asset that you have. That's the reality of what they've got. Now, why would you believe this Prime Minister when he says that they're not going to change negative gearing and capital gains tax arrangements in relation to family homes? Why would you believe that? Because before the last election, the Prime Minister said that there would be no tax changes to superannuation, and now they're bringing those changes in. The Prime Minister promised on 97 occasions that electricity would drop by $275. It's up by $1,300. And this is why families are really feeling the pinch under this government. And Australians can't afford any more of it. Now, the Prime Minister has been caught out lying again, not just in the debate last night, but in relation to the situation, the relationship between Russia and Indonesia and what's happening there. In a train wreck interview this morning, the Prime Minister refused to answer these questions, but he needs to answer them and he needs to be honest. And Murray Watt and others who have been out talking about Loch Ness monsters and all this nonsense, you're getting an insight into the way in which this government operates. It's not transparent, it's not honest, and it is acting against our national interests when they're not providing the information that Australians should be informed on. So that's what we're getting from the Prime Minister at the moment. And as we get closer to the election, there'll be all sorts of issues that people want to run off on. But the most important issue that people are going to decide this election on is who do they trust to manage the economy? Who do they trust to keep us safe in an uncertain time? The Liberal Party will always manage the economy more effectively than the Labor Party. Labor always taxes and spends, and that's why we've had 12 interest rate increases under this Prime Minister. They've come down once by 0.25 of 1%. And the government's ripped $80 billion out of defence. We're putting $21 billion into defence so that we can bolster our security and to make sure that we're a safer country in a very uncertain period. So if you want the economy well managed so that we can bring the cost of living pressures down, vote for your Liberal or National candidate between now and when polls close on Saturday night. Make sure, please, that you understand when you're voting at this election that Mr Albanese can be believed on just one thing, and that is that he can't nominate where prices are going to come down in the economy. He stumbled all over that last night because he knows the honest answer is that everything is going to go up under his government. The cost of food is up by 30%. The cost of electricity is up by 32%. Those costs are going to continue to go up under this bad government. Our plan is to provide immediate relief by way of 25 cents a litre off your fuel bill. That's going to save you $14 a tank. For a company like this using about 4,000 litres of petrol or diesel a month, that is a big savings. And that means that the pressure on their costs don't have to be passed on to consumers if that pressure is brought to bear. We're also going to give $1,200 back by way of tax rebate to an average taxpayer. So for a dual income family, that's twice $2,400. on top of $1,500 that we give you back in relation to the fuel rebate. That's the immediate support we can provide to help people with the crunch of the cost of living pressures that they're under at the moment. And then, of course, we're going to fix up the economy. We're going to fix up the gas market and bring Australian gas back for Australians so that we can reduce the cost right across the economy, as we're doing with the petrol price drop, and that will be of benefit to consumers, to small businesses, but the economy more broadly. And that's the difference between the two parties as we approach this election. There is a lot at stake, and it's a sliding doors moment for our country. If there's a global recession over the next few years, if there's conflict in Europe or the Middle East or in our own region, you do not want a weak Prime Minister in an incompetent Labor government who will just drive up the cost of everything further. Australians just can't afford that.